Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome in to the Hayden Coker Show. Today we are talking a lot about college football, and that is pretty much all we're going to be talking about today. Glad to see everybody tuning in. Hope everybody is enjoying these videos and these lives that I have been doing throughout the year, and I'll be doing them again throughout next season. I have 2 more episodes of this, counting this one, and then we will vamos, and we will be back next season. Then we're going to be doing the podcast. But this is a Hayden Coker Show brought to you by J&K Tire. You can visit J&K Tire in Still, Alabama, and you can mention the Hayden Coker Show, and you can get $10 off of your next service or department. Anything you want there, and they will have you up and running just as easily as anybody out there. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to get into is I want to talk about our brand new New Year's Six this year and how it's going to be shaping up. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about West Virginia and North Carolina, who's playing right now. I'm going to talk about a lot of teams. I'm going to talk about, Arizona and Oklahoma, because I think that's going to be one of the better bowl games this year. I think Arizona is a fantastic football team, and I think people are sleeping on them, and I think that Oklahoma is going to have their hands full. Now, Jackson Arnold will be the starting quarterback for them because, well, guess what? Dylan Gabriel has decided to enter the transfer portal. He's transferring to Oregon, so that's going to be fun. Now, what is going to happen with Oregon next year? All right, so we've got that. You need to stay tuned for. We've got that. We've got Alabama versus Michigan, not Texas, but we've got Alabama versus Michigan. We've also got Washington versus Texas. That's going to be a fun one. Auburn versus Maryland, guys. We've got a bunch of good games, but guess what? Right now, West Virginia and North Carolina are playing, and they are playing a heck of a football game. Earlier, I had to turn it off around 5-ish. I was going to get ready for the show. Told myself that, hey, if you don't get ready for the show, you're going to let your viewers down. So guess what? I got on here. And now we're ready. And see, my main thing about the West Virginia and North Carolina game, what is going to happen with Garrett Green and these receivers? Okay, so I look at the receivers for West Virginia. They're not that great. You look at North Carolina, their quarterback situation, obviously not the greatest right now. You have Drake May, who not transferred out, but guess what? He's declared for the NFL draft, the 2024 NFL draft. He will be a top 10 pick. Is he that good? We'll find out, I guess, this time next year. Because you look at some of the rookie quarterbacks who are playing in the NFL right now, man, it's rough. But for C.J. Stroud, he is lighting the world on fire. He's good. He's in concussion protocol right now. I think he's going to be playing next week, I believe. I think he's going to be playing next week. We will have to see about that, though. He's lighting the world on fire, guys, and there's no other way to put it. But anyways, back to the college football part of the show, because I do want to touch on this beforehand. Garrett Green, he passed, I believe it was Traylon Ray, first play of the game, 75-yard touchdown. So West Virginia jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and I'll get that score update for y'all here in just 1 second, just one moment. Matthew Cherry says hello. What's up, Matthew? How you doing, buddy? So I'm going to go ahead and get that score update for you. It is West Virginia sitting at 14-10 right now with 7 seconds to go before halftime, or 17 seconds to go before halftime, and West Virginia has the ball on the North Carolina 26-yard line, first down and 10. Now, if West Virginia scores here, you've got to think, hey, that is huge for them. For one, you're going to the half. You're going in to have either 17-10 or 21-10, either one. If you score, fantastic for you. If not, either way, you're all right. You still have the lead. Now, Garrett Green and that offense for the West Virginia Mountaineers have got to get it going in the second half and extend that lead, because this is a North Carolina team that is not to be played with. Now, I get it. Drake May is declared for the NFL draft. Well, guess what? You've got former Thompson standout Connor Harrell, who stepped in at quarterback for North Carolina, the Tar Heels, and he's not playing bad, guys. I get it. I think it was the second drive of the game. He threw an interception. It was in the red zone. I think it was actually in the end zone. And Connor Younger says Texas wins by 2 scores. Connor, I appreciate you for tuning in, and I appreciate the prediction, and we will get to that a little bit later on. But I do appreciate the prediction, and I may or may not agree with you. I don't know. We'll have to check that out a little bit later on, my friend. But I do appreciate you tuning in. But Yeah, Connor Harrell for North Carolina. So he was a star quarterback at Thompson a few years ago, and he's from Alabaster. Star quarterback at Thompson, won the state championship in 2021 with Thompson, and now he is supposedly, well, I won't say supposedly, but I would really like to see him light the world on fire tonight. And the thing is, he's a true freshman. Okay, he's a true freshman, not a redshirt freshman. He's coming in. He's a young guy. He's going to be young. Okay, freshmen are always young. So what I'm taking away from this is can Connor Harrell get the ball to his star running back in Omarion Hampton? So if he can do that, he's already found him twice. Well, in the first quarter, he did 2 receptions for 55 yards within the first few minutes of the game. That was in the first few minutes of the game. I have not been able to look at any statistics yet. Matthew Cherry chimes in and says, "I'm good. How are you, man? I'm great. I appreciate it. North Carolina versus West Virginia has been a great game so far. I can't wait till A&M versus Oklahoma State. That's going to be a really good one." And Matthew Cherry says, "I hope North Carolina wins." Now, Matthew, I would agree with you, but I picked somebody of a different team to win. I picked the West Virginia Mountaineers to win because I think that Garrett Green is a phenomenal quarterback, and I think that he's going to lead this Mountaineer team to a W tonight. And I throw up the W with my fingers, but apparently that's a gang sign, so I'm not going to do that. but yeah, let's get back to West Virginia and North Carolina. So right now, this is a heck of a football game. By the way, this is a Duke's Mayo Bowl. For those of you who don't know, I believe it was 2 years ago, when me and my good friend Craig Cameron were sitting in a good buddy of mine, Chase Robinson's studio at WKXX Fox Sports Radio. We were sitting in that very studio recording for their radio show. We were recording an episode, and guess what? We were watching that game live. Me and my buddy Craig Cameron, who is about to get married, by the way. Shout out to Craig. And we were watching that game, and we saw Shane Beamer play North Carolina, actually, a team that we're talking about right now, play North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl and beat North Carolina. By the way, this is Spencer Rattler was not there yet 2 years ago. This is just the second year. So, well, I guess it would have been 3 years ago now, or close to it anyways. But what was so special about that game was the Duke's Mayo representatives or whatever, taking a 5-gallon Gatorade bucket of Duke's Mayo and pouring it on Shane Beamer's head. And to me, sitting there, I'm going, that's freaking disgusting. If I'm Shane Beamer, I'm like, dude, I'm making millions of dollars. I'm sitting here with mayo on my face. I'm going to go home to my smoking hot wife, and I'm going to be just fine. Because I'm going to take a shower, get all this Duke's Mayo off of me, and just think to yourself, what have you got to live for after the bowl season? All right? Because guess what? It's time to hit the transfer portal. Who's transferring? Who's coming in from high school? It's time to start recruiting finger right here, if you will. Brian Harsin, shout out to him. But anyways, my main thing about bowl season, my main takeaway is, wow, some of these guys, I'd get sick if Mayo was telling me, says Matthew Cherry. I cannot sit there and confidently say that I would be okay if I had Duke's Mayo on my head or any type of mayonnaise, if you will. At Chick-fil-A, we've got people ordering 10 packs of mayonnaise for 2 sandwiches, and it's just disgusting. It makes me want to puke, but you like what you like, man. Whether you like mayo on your fries, mayo on your burger, mayo on your chicken sandwich, mayo on your barbecue, whatever you like, it is up to you to put it on there. So if you want to do it, fine by me. But my friend, I'm staying as far away from that mayonnaise as I can. And I don't mean I hate it. I actually just don't really mind mayo. But it's just, I guess it's just the texture that freaks me out. It's very nasty. I think it's good. I think it tastes really good. I just think the texture's nasty, and I don't like the idea of it. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Put with that what you will, all right? So, but anyways, back to the football side of things, guys, and I'm going to get to my sponsors here in just a second. Matthew Cherry chimes in and says, mayo definitely is disgusting. I always order Chick-fil-A sauce. Now, Matthew, I'm going to guess that Chick-fil-A sauce is your favorite. Mine is also the Chick-fil-A. I also really like the Polynesian, the honey roasted barbecue. All that jazz, super fantastic. You can never go wrong with ketchup either. Let me know in the comments your guys' favorite condiments, your guys' favorite sauces, or your favorite college football bowl game of all time. Let me know your favorite bowl game of all time that has ever been played. Let me know in the comments, and I will put them up on the screen for everybody to read right now. I definitely want to, to put these two comments up. Matthew Cherry. Matthew Cherry, he says, mayonnaise is definitely disgusting. He usually gets the Chick-fil-A sauce. Now, Brooks Stevens Jr. says that Polynesian is underrated. Polynesian sauce is very, very, very good. And I remember being first introduced to it. I believe I was younger, and my buddy Nick Spears. Nick, if you're watching, shout out to you. But my buddy Nick Spears pointed it out to me and was like, hey, man, I know you like that ketchup, but, dude, try this Polynesian sauce. It'll change your life. Exact words from Nick Spears. Now, I'm not sure about that, considering it was over a decade ago, but you get what I'm saying. Anyways, it says try this Polynesian sauce. So I try it. Boom. Absolutely phenomenal. Speaking of Chick-fil-A, we've got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl coming up later on, in I believe it's January 1st in one of the New Year's 6 games. It's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Ole Miss and Penn State are going to be playing, and buddy, who's going to win that one? I'll get to it a little bit later. Carson Tracy says Oregon versus Wisconsin with Herbert. And Carson, I can absolutely agree with you. That was one of the greatest games that I've ever seen. That Wisconsin team was good, but that team with Justin Herbert was absolutely fantastic. That was one of the most fun teams that I would have watched. One of the most fun Oregon teams that I've ever watched. Now, a team that I think that was underrated was that Wisconsin team. But you also have the 2013 Wisconsin team. Whenever Russell Wilson was there, that team was a good football team with Monty Ball, all those guys. Those dudes were legit. And that's one of the many reasons that I am a big fan of Wisconsin as it is, because of the running back production that they or because of the running backs that they produce. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut up and give you guys what you want, because I know you guys love hearing from my sponsors. I know it. I know you do. So don't sit there and argue with me. But first up, our first sponsor of the day is Chick-fil-A in Pell City. We were just talking about their their sauces with all their salt. They have the Polynesian sauce, the Chick-fil-A sauce. I believe my stepmom Ashley's favorite sauce in there is the Chick-fil-A sauce as well. So we're gonna go ahead and shout out them. But hey, Pell City, if you're anybody from Pell City, if you're listening to this, if you're looking to spice up your morning routine, you can try the spicy Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit made with seasoned with a spicy pepper blend and served on a freshly baked buttermilk biscuit just for you. You can stop by and enjoy a spicy chicken biscuit in the morning at Chick-fil-A. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle to showroom condition? Well, Tyler Meads and AIM Mobile Detail has got you covered with professional-grade ceramic coatings, paint enhancements and corrections, and exterior details and interior details. You can call Tyler Meads now at 256-458-9949 or message AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. That's Tyler Meads at 256-458-9949 or message AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. Hey, football fans, if you need a lawnmower, a tractor, or an implement, then you can go see my good friend Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the South's best little city of Asheville, Alabama. Alabama Tractor specializes in Kubota brand machines and equipment along with other brand items as well. They also have a huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. You can go see Alex and check out their large inventory and ask about their 0% financing. Alabama Tractor is located at 275 6th Avenue, Asheville, Alabama. You can reach Alex at 205-594-7000. You can reach Alex Farmer once again at 205-594-7000. Check us out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor, Asheville. At Alabama Tractor, you can trust their machines and equipment to work just as hard as you do. Guys, it's just as simple as that. Go to my sponsors, guys. Support these guys, some of these small businesses. Then you have Chick-fil-A. Go support the Chick-fil-A in Pell City, just off Martin Street. Matthew Cherry chimes in and says the Peach Bowl is going to be a great game. I'm pulling for Ole Miss. Now, Matthew Cherry, I'm going to give you my prediction a little bit later on in the show, but I do want to go ahead and let you know that I may or may not be on the same side as you. Whatever that tells you, oh well. Brooks Stevens Jr. chimes in. It's the 2005-2006 Rose Bowl, Texas versus USC. Now, Brooks, that was a really fun game, And obviously that was before I really got into college football, considering I was 3 years old at the time and I did not know what I was doing. But I do remember watching highlights of that game and seeing highlights of the game on ESPN and all that jazz. And it was a great game as well. And Matthew Cherry says Russell Wilson was just benched by the Broncos, and I did see that, and he's going to be replaced by Jarrett Stidham, former Auburn quarterback, and Auburn legend, as some would say. Maybe some will disagree with me, maybe some will agree, but he was a fantastic Auburn quarterback, and you can't knock that man either. So, Connor Yonker, I believe that your comment is not showing up at the moment. It is a blank comment. So I don't know if you tried to put something or my computer's lagging or something else. But, yeah, I did not get your compliment. Connor Yonker says ranch is on top. Now, Connor, I have to agree with you in some occasions, but I have to say that when it comes to Chick-fil-A, Polynesian or Chick-fil-A is on top. Now, if you're just talking about just regular condiments, ketchup, ranch, barbecue sauce, I do have to agree with you. Ranch is the absolute bomb. Brooks Stevens Jr. says the Cotton Bowl last year was awesome too. Now, Brooks, one of my favorite games from last year was Penn State and Utah when they played in the Rose Bowl last year. I remember Utah ended up winning that game, but I thought that Penn State would end up winning that. Or I believe I got that right, or maybe I have it backwards, either one. But then you have 2 years ago the Rose Bowl, you had Utah and Ohio State when Jackson Smith and Jigba set the receiving record for receiving yards in a single game against, well, none other than the Utah Utes. And that was a really fun game. You had C.J. Stroud playing in that game. And then you also had Cam Rising. There it is. I swear I forget his name. Then I remember it. I remember. I'm like an old man. I'm just or old man, old woman, whoever you want to specify. But yeah, guys, I am blabbing a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the bowl season because I do want to talk about that. The New Year's Six is just around the corner. I would like to let everybody know that, by the way, and it is going to be a heck of a bowl season, and it has already been a heck of a bowl season in Bowl on the ESPN app. I'm 14-8 right now, number 1 in the Hayden Coker Show League. If anybody wants to go join that, you can. It is on my Facebook. You just got to scroll a little bit down, and you will eventually find it. Matthew Cherry says Utah has been good the past couple of years, and yes, indeed, they have. The thing with Utah this past year is their offense could not keep up with their defense. So their offense was not good, and their defense was, well, it was good for the start of the year. Then it just kind of went silent over the last few weeks. And Utah has just not played good the last few weeks of the season. Obviously, you get a rivalry game win against Colorado. I don't really know how much that means to you, considering it's Colorado and a team that is just straight up not good. But take with it what you will. Connor Yonker says, does Notre Dame win without Sam Hartman? Matthew Cherry responds with no. Let me tell you why you're wrong, Matthew. I'm just kidding. I can't tell you why you're wrong because I don't necessarily know too much right now. I'm not going to say about the game, but I will say that I don't know of my winner. That's why I'm kind of postponing everything. So Brooks Stevens Jr. says Western Kentucky coming back from being down 28-0 against Old Dominion could be considered a great bowl game. Now, Brooks, you are absolutely correct. Now, I want to go ahead and chime in on this. So you look at what happened over the last few days during the bowl games. We can touch on Western Kentucky. We can touch on Georgia Southern and Ohio when Ohio absolutely routed them. I want to talk about Kansas versus UNLV. Barry Odom in his first year at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, he took them guys to a bowl. Well, I won't say a bowl win, but they took him guys to a bowl game. And I can't remember the name of the name of the bowl. But you end up losing to a really, I'm not going to say really good Kansas team, but it's a fairly decent Kansas team. Now you end up losing that game, but it is Barry Odom's first year. You have got to know that UNLV is looking up. The football program is looking up. They're going to be good within the next few years. Now I get it. They're not a Power 5 team like Kansas is, but guess what? They're going to be good within the next few years, and you just have to sit back and relax and watch the show. You put up over 30 points against this Kansas team, and you really have it close going into the fourth quarter. Jason Bean, on the other hand, quarterback for Kansas, threw for 6 touchdowns. Now, granted, he did throw for 3 interceptions, but he threw for 6 touchdowns in this game and over 400 yards. That is the most touchdowns in a game by a Big 12 quarterback in bowl game history. Well, from the Big 12 quarterbacks. But anyways, so I thought that was really interesting. And I did not get to stay up and watch that game. And I was at my mom's house and didn't have the channel. I wasn't able to watch the game. Really sucks. But one thing that I did want to comment on from that game was Jason Bean and giving him his flowers and being the first Big 12 quarterback to ever throw for 6 touchdowns in a bowl game. That was just phenomenal. It's just awesome to hear about. And if you're a college ball fan anywhere, you know that, hey, that is something to be proud of. And everybody knows that throwing 6 touchdowns in a game, shoot, man, come on, dude. Really? Like, there hasn't been too many people do that this year. There just hasn't. But when you do it, when a college quarterback goes out there and throws for 6 touchdowns, no matter the opponent, dude, it's just good. Now, I get it. And if you're Jaden Daniels playing against a terrible, terrible team, an FCS opponent, and you rack up 8 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, now I get it. Say what you want, but Bo Nix, he put up 6 touchdowns. Guess who that did it against? I can't remember. But because I had bet some money. I had bet some money on the game that Bo Nix would throw for over 5 touchdowns. He ended up throwing for 6, I believe, or 5, or had 6 total touchdowns. Anyways, ended up winning the game. I think it was actually against Arizona State was the opponent. And they ended up going on to win that game. Guys, there's not too many quarterbacks that are going to go out there and throw you 6 touchdowns in one game. And you have very few that are going to do it, but the guys that did this year, elite. Now, Jason Bean, he stuck with Kansas after they had let it known that, well, Jalen Daniels was going to be the quarterback at Kansas, the starter going forward. And Jalen Daniels, all it takes is a few injuries, and then you're back in the starting spot. Sadly, that's what it is. Sadly, Jalen Daniels was injured, and that's what it took for ahead. I'm happy that everybody's back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I do apologize. The Wi-Fi is a little spotty right now, especially with the storms that came through the other day. Brooks Stevens chimes in, says, I'm pretty sure that Bean was a starter last year and his job was lost, and Jalen Daniels won the job. And yeah, you're right. So what happened was Bean was a starter, and Jalen Daniels just was straight up outperforming in practice. So it came in, and he did really good. And then Jalen Daniels was some were saying a Heisman prospect, and then Jalen Daniels goes down. He goes down, and I believe it was the game last year to was it Oklahoma, Texas? I can't exactly remember. It was one of those games. Ended up going down in that game, and Bean has to come back in, and so excuse me, sorry, it was TCU in that game. He ended up having to come back in, and Jason Bean leading that team to a close loss, but it was still a loss. And but yeah, and then Jalen Daniels starting again this year, going out of the season with injuries, so that sucks for him. But Jason Bean was able to come in and really show what he was made of. And guys, I apologize once again for the buffering and everything and all that jazz. And I hope to get it fixed soon. It's just some technical difficulties. But guys, we have Auburn and Maryland coming up in a few days. We have some other games. We have Iowa State playing in a bowl game. Guess what? I didn't see that happening at the beginning of the year, but guess what? They went out. Rocco Betch. They went out and they did some really nice things. Now they're in a bowl game this year. You have UNLV, like I said earlier, they lost. You have Kansas State and NC State playing in a bowl game this year. That is going to be a fun game. Now, both quarterbacks transferring. What's going to happen in that game? Connor says, get you that Spectrum. I'm going to have to put that one up there. But no, I do have to say, that I think that Kansas State and NC State is going to be one of the better bowl games this bowl season. Now, I think that Kansas State is more than likely going to be on their toes that whole game. I think that NC State is going to get that W. And why? Let me tell you why. Kansas State is losing a lot of their team. You lose your starting running back to the transfer portal. You lose some DBs to the transfer portal. You lose your starting quarterback to the transfer portal. Now, I get it. It's college football in 2023. It's going to happen. Well, 2024 almost. It's going to happen. But I do not think that Kansas State has what it takes to win this game. I just don't. And I think that NC State's going to come out here. They're going to prove their worth. And Grayson McCall, he's not playing in this game, but next year he's going to come in and really put this NC State team on the map. Now, I'm not saying they aren't already on the map, but who's paying attention to NC State if you're talking about the top 15 teams in college football? Nobody. Who's thinking about North Carolina? Nobody. If you look at what NC State is going to be able to do, I think they're going to be really good next year. I think they're going to be a 9-3 team. I think they're going to be on the outside looking in of a New Year's Six bowl. I think they just because next year it's going to be a 12-team playoff. So never mind. They're not going to be on the outside looking in of. I don't think they'll be on the outside looking into the playoff. They'll probably be 16 or 17. I still think this is going to be a 9-3 team. Maybe you have a loss late to North Carolina. I don't know. Connor Harrell's going to be a starting quarterback next year for North Carolina. He's a freshman. He'll be a sophomore next year. He's going to have some. He's going to have some experience. He's going to have some tread on the tires. Now, not much, but he's going to have that experience. Can Connor Harrell lead that North Carolina team to a really good win next year or a really good season next year? That's to be determined, and we'll find out later. Connor says, "Get you that Spectrum, man." we are going to work on it, buddy. We are going to work on it. When it comes to bowl games, there's so many going on right now. Like right now, we have I believe they're still at halftime. It's North Carolina, and it's North Carolina, West Virginia. Garrett Green, by the way, if you haven't heard that name, you need to be looking at the name Garrett Green, because that dude, quarterback for West Virginia, that dude is an absolute baller. Threw a 75-yard dime. It's a touchdown. First play of the game to Traylon Ray. First play of the game, like I said, 75-yard touchdown. So that dude's good, and you really need to be looking out for him. Now, maybe he stays next year. I don't know what's going to happen. Transfer portal's always in play these days. But Arizona, Oklahoma playing. That's going to be a fun one. Jackson Arnold, I said this earlier, Jackson Arnold is going to be the star quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners. Obviously, you had Dylan Gabriel transferring out. He's going to be Jackson Arnold is going to be the starter, and it's going to be true freshman up against true freshman. Except Noah Fafita, he has some tread on the tires. He's played mostly all year except for the first 2 games of the season. He got a little bit of playing time, but they finally figured out that he was going to be a starter in that game that they almost lost to Stanford in a close 21-20 win over the Stanford Cardinal in week 3 of the season. Now, ever since he's been the starting quarterback. But here's a question. Can Jackson Arnold come in and lead this Oklahoma Sooners team to a win? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I think and I firmly believe that Arizona is going to come in and they're going to blow the doors off of this Oklahoma team. Oklahoma's dealing with a bunch of transfers. Arizona, these guys are staying solidified, all right? They have a few transfers, but these guys, the starters, they are there. They are there for the long haul. This Arizona team is going to go out there and they're going to beat the Oklahoma Sooners this coming weekend. I'm not sure what exact day it is, but that is going to be in the Alamo Bowl. So I really hope that everybody's locked in on that game because that's going to be a good one. Like I said earlier, Kansas State and NC State. I think that NC State is going to go on and win that game. That's November. November. Something else I want to talk about. So when it comes to the Arizona offensive line, so I mentioned the Arizona offensive line earlier. Now I want to talk about how they haven't given up a sack in 2 games. Matthew Cherry chimes in, says, "What's your opinion on Rutgers versus Miami, Clemson versus Kentucky, Missouri versus Ohio State, Auburn versus Maryland, Georgia versus FSU?" So Georgia versus FSU. I'll get to the games that I know for sure. Georgia's going to win. Oregon's going to beat Liberty. Rutgers is going to beat Miami. And Clemson's going to Now, I'm going to go ahead and read you off some of these games that I have. By the way, Arizona's offensive line hasn't given up a sack since November 11th against Colorado, by the way. Just saying, their final 2 games, they didn't give up a sack at all. Noah Fafita, that dude is legit. He's thrown for 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions this year, and I think he's got 2,500 yards as well. So that dude is good. You keep cutting out Matthew. I know. I do apologize for that. But I am going to go ahead and say I'm going to go ahead and get this round everything up. So for you guys. So, well, let's just be honest with ourselves. So, y'all don't miss anything. So, I don't miss anything. So, I do apologize. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle to show room condition? Well, you can call Tyler Meads at A Mobile Detail, and he's got you covered with professional-grade ceramic coatings, paint enhancements and corrections, and full interior and exterior details. You can call now at 256-458-9949. That's 256-458-9949, or message Tyler Meads at AIM Mobile Detail on Facebook. Hey, football fans, if you need a lawnmower, a tractor, or an implement, then you can go see my friend Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the South's best little city of Asheville, Alabama. They also have a huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. You can go see Alex and check out their large inventory and ask about their 0% financing. Alabama Tractor is located at 275 6th Avenue, Asheville, Alabama. You can reach Alex at 205-594-7000. That's Alex Farmer at 205-594-7000. Check us out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor-Asheville. At Alabama Tractor, you can trust their machines and equipment to work just as hard as you do. Hey, Pell City, are you looking to spice up your morning routine? Try Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit, made with the real boneless breast of chicken, seasoned with the spicy pepper blend, and served on a freshly baked buttermilk biscuit just for you. Stop by and enjoy a spicy chicken biscuit in the morning. Now, let's get to Missouri and Ohio State, because I know you guys are about to eat dinner. I know you guys are busy, so I want to go ahead and wrap this up, get you some knowledge. Let's do it, man. So, Missouri and Ohio State. Ohio State's got some opt-outs. They've got some transfers. Guys, we don't even know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be playing in that bowl game. Devin Brown is going to get the start at quarterback due to Kyle McCord transferring to Syracuse. Syracuse absolutely got throttled the other day by USF in a bowl game. So that's how it's going for Kyle McCord right now. Matthew Cherry chimes in and says, I hope Missouri wins. Now, Matthew Cherry, I'm going to go ahead and say this. You're going to be happy with me after what I'm about to say. I think Missouri not only beats Ohio State, I think they give Ohio State a good old-fashioned butt whooping. Now, I think that Cody Schrader and company on that offensive side of the football, they're going to be good, all right? You cannot sit there and tell me that those guys are not going to contribute of some sort. Cody Schrader, like I said, he was in previous episodes, but Cody Schrader is a former D2 football player from last year. Comes in and leads the nation in rushing. That dude's good. Not rushing, but rush yards per game, total yards per game. That guy's the number one running back in the nation right now. You cannot tell me otherwise. You can argue for Blake Corum. You can argue for Omarion Hampton at North Carolina. You can argue for Ollie Gordon. The best running back in college football right now sits in Missouri, and his name is Cody Schrader. Well, he's not in Missouri right now. They're obviously getting bowl prep. But you get what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and say this. Like I said earlier, Missouri's going to win that game. Aldrick Estime, Connor as well. Aldrick Estime, he is fantastic. He's fantastic. He's going to be good. I had a good buddy of mine sit there and try to tell me that Jace McClellan was better than Aldrick Estime based on him coming out of high school, based on their recruits and their stars coming out of high school. And I think that was just ridiculous. Aldrick Estime is by far better than Jace McClellan. But I got to say, I think that Cody Schrader is the number one running back in the nation right now, in college football, if you will. Now, whether he comes back next year or not, I don't think he is. But he's got a fantastic running back coming in from Georgia State, and he's going to be he's going to be on fire as well. He's going to be fantastic. He's dynamic. If you haven't looked at the tape on that Georgia State running back, then you need to go. His first name's Robert. I forget his last name. But he's really good. And I've seen a few clips of him. He's going to be outstanding next year. So I think that Missouri wins that game in the New Year's Six. Then we have Ole Miss, Penn State. I think that Ole Miss is going to win this game, and let me tell you why. Penn State's defense is good, but their offense is not able to do anything. And look at what Ole Miss was able to do on the recruiting trail. I'm not saying that this has something to do with the game on Monday, but I think that this Ole Miss team is going to come out on fire. Say, hey, you know what? Look at what we're doing in the offseason. We're actually doing something. Lane Kiffin has been recruiting. He's the man. And if nobody's been watching or keeping up with the Ole Miss recruiting show right now, you just got the number one defensive tackle in the transfer portal and the number one defensive tackle in the 2022 class in Walter Nolan. And you just might get Evan Stewart, who you're also in the mix for. By the way, he's a Texas A&M standout, one of the best wide receivers in the country this past year. Now, my main thing with this game is, can Penn State stop this fast-rolling offense of Ole Miss? I don't think they can. I think they're going to hang in there for a little bit. And on the offensive side of the ball for Penn State, Nick Singleton, I think he's going to get rolling at some point. But I think that Ole Miss is going to eventually win this game, and they're going to go up 2-0 on the Big Ten in bowl games this year. Our next game, Carson Tracy says, West Virginia with a one-handed pick, and I wish I could watch that game right now. I'm going to be turning it on as soon as I get off of here, that's why I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up soon because, well, guess what? I want to watch college football too, but I do enjoy doing these live, so I do appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all interacting with me in the comments. Matthew Cherry says that definitely was luck. And I cannot wait to see the pick that y'all are talking about. Georgia versus FSU. I think Georgia blows FSU out of the water. And by the way, these teams combined have a total of 40 players who are sitting out. Either they're transferring, sitting out, opting out because of the NFL draft. You have a total of 40 players who are opting out of this bowl game. A total of 40 players opting out of the Orange Bowl between Georgia and Florida State. That is unheard of. Of course, in a few years, it's not going to be unheard of. But guess what? These are two top 10 teams, and you have people opting out of this game. You have players opting out of this game like it's nothing. And that's just absolutely ridiculous to me. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe it. And I cannot believe that some of the coaches are not doing something about this. Obviously, I don't think they can control anything. It is a transfer portal. The players have their right to go to the transfer portal, but I'm not going to have anybody sit there and tell me that there's not something going on between those two programs. Obviously, you have Florida State, who's a little bit salty about not making the college football playoff, although you shouldn't have made it in the first place because you're going to get boat raced by either Michigan or Washington or Texas. That's just how it is. Matthew Cherry, that was definitely luck, and Matthew Cherry says also he's a great player. Now, I'm going to move on because that game's going to be a blowout. Oregon versus Liberty. I think that Oregon's going to win this game. Now, do they cover? I believe it was 16.5 last time I looked was the spread. I'm not so sure they cover, but I do think they win this game. I'm not covered just yet. Hayden, you've got some really good, dynamic players on that offensive side of the football for Liberty. And Caden Salter, quarterback for Liberty, is one of them. He's good. He's experienced. He's got some years under his belt. He's good. And he's going to be that way for a while. You know why? Because this Liberty team, coached by Jamie Chadwell, this is his first year there. And they went undefeated in the regular season. You win the Conference USA title. You're playing really good football right now. Can they keep it close against Oregon? I think the defense, it's going to come down to the defense and if they're able to stop that Bo Nix-led offense of Oregon or not. Now, I don't think they do, and Connor, I don't know what's going on with your comments. Maybe it's me, but all I just see is a blank space. Maybe it's my internet, whatever. I don't know. But I think that Oregon gets the W there. Now, we've got some games on New Year's Day that are not New Year's Six games. We have Wisconsin and we have LSU. LSU's going to boat race Wisconsin, but it is what it is. Maybe Wisconsin's defense can hold them in that game and keep them in there for at least a half. I'm not so sure, but you know what? We'll see. Also, we have I think LSU's going to win that game, and we also have Iowa versus Tennessee. Tennessee's going to win this game. Iowa's defense, they're fantastic, but offensively, they are not. Connor, man, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I don't really know how that works, but thank you so much. That really means the world to me. I just got stars. I just got sent stars on Facebook. Oh my gosh, Connor, thank you so much, man. I highly appreciate that. That means so much to me. Thank you so much once again. And guys, before I get into my final two predictions of the day, our final two games, I'm going to give you a little sponsor. I'm going to make a little money here. Hey, Pell City, are you looking to spice up your morning routine? Well, you can try a spicy chicken biscuit Made with the real boneless breast of chicken, seasoned with a spicy pepper blend, and served on a freshly baked buttermilk biscuit just for you. You can stop by and enjoy a spicy chicken biscuit in the morning at the Pell City Chick-fil-A right off Martin Street. Hey, football fans, if you need a lawnmower, a tractor, or an implement, then go see my friend Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor in the South's best little city of Asheville, Alabama. Alabama Tractor specializes in Kubota brand machines and equipment along with other brand items as well. They also have a huge parts and service department to keep your machines up and running year in and year out. Go see Alex and check out their large inventory and ask about their 0% financing. Alabama Tractor is located at 275 6th Avenue, Asheville, Alabama. You can reach Alex at 205-594-7000. That's 205-594-7000. You can check us out on Facebook at Alabama Tractor Asheville. At Alabama Tractor, you can trust their machines and equipment to work just as hard as you do. Are you wanting to reset your vehicle to showroom condition? Well, Tyler Meads at A Mobile Detail has got you covered with professional-grade ceramic coatings, paint enhancements and corrections, and full interior and exterior details. You can call Tyler Meads now at 256-458-9949. That's Tyler Meads at 256-458-9949. Or message him at A Mobile Detail on Facebook. Now, guys, what you have all been waiting for. Now, Connor Yunker says Kubota, and that is right, Connor. You can go down to Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor and find any Kubota brand machine that you would like. They've got it all. They've got a huge parts and service department and 0% financing. There you go, Alex, with the double sponsorship right there. So, Connor, I missed some comments, so I'll go ahead and see. Matthew Cherry says, I hope Iowa knocks off Tennessee. Now, Matthew, I think that it's a possibility, but I think that you have to transfer out for Iowa at quarterback position. Now, you have to opt out for Joe Milton, but I think Nico Iamaleava for Tennessee, the quarterback who's coming in now, and it was just announced that Joe Milton was not going to be playing in the bowl game. I think Nico Iamaleava is going to come in and he's going to play. He's going to do some really nice things for this Tennessee offense. Now, I think that he is a little bit more dynamic than Joe Milton is. Now, obviously, that's not going to show right now because the dude's a freshman. Joe Milton was obviously starting for a reason. But maybe, just maybe, Nico can find a way to outsmart this Iowa defense and really get it into the hands of his receivers. Now, you got Squirrel White on the outside, who I think is Tennessee has several opt-outs. Now, that is also true. And that is something I want to touch on because I didn't see all the opt-outs. And I wasn't able to get to see all the opt-outs. I looked at a sheet of opt-outs, and I did not see Tennessee on there. I saw a lot of them was Georgia and Florida State, but I obviously did see some other ones. But I did not see Tennessee. So Matthew, if you want to fill me in there, it'll be awesome. Thank you, stars, if that's what you just sent. It's a blank message. I'm not sure what that was. So thank you so much, Carson and Connor. By the way, we need to get to our final two games. We have Alabama versus Michigan, and we have Texas versus Washington. Now, Alabama versus Michigan is going to be played at the Rose Bowl out in good old Cali. Now, who's going to win this football game? I think this is a very, very, very odd matchup. Like I've said before, I'm not so sure that Michigan can keep up with Alabama and can score with them. But here's the thing. Michigan's defense is one of the best in the country. They have a fantastic defensive line. Their linebackers are good. Now, you look in the secondary, that is where they're going to be lacking, okay? Jalen Milroe, he has shown us the ability to throw the ball downfield. He has shown us the ability since week 1, week 2, week 3. He has shown us that ability that he can go through his progressions. He can make smart decisions. He has grown so much throughout this year. I think that Alabama is going to win this game, and I think they win the game outright. I'm going to go Alabama 33-16 in this game. Now, Matthew Cherry says, I'm glad Alabama doesn't have as many opt-outs as they usually do. He says, I'll look them up and send them to you. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. So just send them to my messenger. I appreciate that, buddy. Alabama, they don't have that many opt-outs. And they're not going to have opt-outs because they're in a playoff game. Now, you look on the other hand, you look at Michigan, they don't have opt-outs either. But who is their star player that's going to come in and it's going to help them win this game? It's going to be nobody. Alabama's defensive line is going to be good enough to hang with that Michigan offensive line, and they're going to stop Blake Corum. They can stop the run. Will Anderson and Braz Wilk also. Those two guys are fantastic. Those two guys are going to have to solidify the edge, especially Braz Wilk. I want to see him set the edge. You cannot let Blake Corum get to the outside. Blake Corum is a fast back. He's not just powerful. The dude is fast. And I don't mean Chick Hicks fast. I'm talking Lightning McQueen fast. So you can't let him get to the outside. He's powerful. He's fast. He's got the whole package for running back. So you can't let him get to the outside. You look at a few years ago when Hassan Haskins, he was a running back for Michigan when they first beat Michigan or Ohio State in 400 years. So I mean, he reminds me a lot of him. Now I get it. Same running back room as last year. Now you have Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum. Donovan Edwards is good too, so you've got to look out for him. Now, I don't think that J.J. McCarthy – I think that J.J. McCarthy's good. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think he's good. I don't think he's that great, okay? And I have a good buddy of mine, Nathan Fuller. If you're watching right now, I do apologize. I would like to apologize beforehand and up front for loving Michigan all year and then just absolutely destroying their dreams. I think that Alabama is going to absolutely destroy them. I think it's going to be close to first quarter or close to second quarter, close to first half. Now, maybe they make it a game going into the fourth quarter. I think that Alabama is going to win this game. Defensively, I don't think that Michigan hang with Alabama. Offensively, I don't think that Michigan can score with Alabama. I don't think they can. Obviously, Michigan's defense is going to have success. That's what they built. That's what they built their team off all year. Their offense is not that great. You look at what J.J. McCarthy's been able to do this year. Sure, he's done some good things. He can throw the ball. He's not going to have that much success in this game. And why is that so? Because Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Caleb Downs, those guys in the secondary for Alabama, they're going to have a rude awakening coming for J.J. McCarthy on January 1st. And Alabama's going to advance to the national championship game. Now, we have Texas and Texas and Washington. Wow, I almost butchered that severely. Connor Yunker says Big Ten can't hang with those SEC schools. And Connor, I'm a little bit surprised that you said that, my friend, because I know you're a Big Ten fan yourself. Although you're a Notre Dame fan, I'll forgive you for that one, by the way. No, I'm just messing with you, obviously. But Carson Tracy says Edwards is the better running back in my opinion. Can catch out of the backfield and he can be a power back. Corum is more of a power back. Now, Carson, you do have a good point there. Corum is more of the power back. Donovan Edwards has the full package. Now, Corum, he has a little bit of that speed as well. He is very fast. But Edwards, that dude is lightning fast. That dude is I won't say so much faster, but he is faster than Blake Corum. Now, here's the thing. And I've already touched on who I think is going to win this game, so I'll kind of leave it at this. If Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum can get going in the pass game, then it's a different story. But I don't think that's going to happen, so I've got Alabama winning that football game. Now, moving on to Texas versus Washington, we got UW facing the Longhorns of Texas. Now, Quinn Ewers and company, they're going to be good. They've been fantastic most of the year. They had a few games in the middle of the season where they were not that great. But the last few games of the season, they have absolutely turned it on. You look at their rivalry game against Texas Tech, absolutely demolished them, man. I thought that Texas Tech was going to knock them out of college football playoff contention. They didn't. Then you go to the Big 12 championship game. You knock the absolute crap. You knock the absolute crap out of an Oklahoma State team that's actually really decent, and they're going to beat Texas A&M later on tonight, by the way. They are. Texas A&M's got too many opt-outs to hang with Oklahoma State, and Ollie Gordon's going to run all over them. Anyways, back to Texas. I think that Texas has a real shot at winning this game. But this Washington defensive line and Braylon Trice, he is going to have to be the difference maker in this game if Washington has a chance. Now, I have absolutely flipped the script from earlier on. I thought this game is going to be obviously this game is going to be really close. I was sold on Texas. I'm not so sure now. You look at what Braylon Trice and Muhammad in the secondary, you look at what they have been able to do this year. Braylon Trice is phenomenal. He's going to be the difference maker in that game. Now, he has got to get it going if Washington wants to win that game because that Texas defensive line, that Texas offensive line, they are fantastic. You look at the Texas defensive line. They're the most experienced defensive line in college football right now, full of fifth-year seniors. Full of them. I'm not talking glass half full, glass half empty. I'm talking absolutely full, filled to the rim, filled to the brim, whatever you want to call it, of the pickle jar. Guys, that is the most experienced defensive line in football. Their DBs are good. You got some really good linebackers. I think this Texas team is actually going to take this game. Now, if Washington, if they can defensively, if they can get things going and they can stop Quinn Ewers and they can force some turnovers, then Washington will win that game. But until otherwise, until I see that on game day, the Texas Longhorns are going to win this game. It's going to be Alabama and Texas in the national title game for a rematch of the Week 2 game when Alabama defeated the Texas Longhorns. By the way, my dad actually got a Texas Longhorn hat for Christmas. There he is, and I would flip the camera around, but there he is holding up his Hook 'em Horns signs. He's been saying for years now, "Oh, I'm going to get me one of them Hook 'em Horns hats, them Texas Longhorn hats." He's going to get him one of them. Well, guess what? He got one. He got him one for Christmas. And, Dad, I'm going to bring you in on this one. So, Dad, go ahead and come on in here. I know you have your hands full with supper. But I'm going to ask my fine dad, good old dad, to come on in here. He's walking away. No, man. I'm going to get Mr. James Martin Coker himself. He's coming. He's coming. He's got to get his hands washed. He's got all that meat on him from cooking supper. But I'm gonna have him do sort of a headgear pick'em. Dad, go get your Longhorns hat. Hurry, run. By the way, guys, go Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco. You're the GOAT, baby. And I have Joe Flacco's jersey coming in. Go Cleveland. Carson, I know you don't like to hear that. Connor, I know you don't like to hear that. Matthew, I know you don't like to hear that. But Cleveland Browns are those guys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the headgear pick of the day. Yes, they can hear you. Here's a microphone. Come here and sit down right here.
Here. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
May not be the best team, but they sure got the best looking cow. Look at that. Longhorn.
He's got them long horns. We just pulled the greatest headgear pick'em in the Hayden Coker Show history. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that you know who is going to be playing in the college football playoff, it's going to be Alabama versus Texas in the national championship. Who's going to win that game? We do not know. But, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? January 2nd, we will know who will be playing in that national championship game. And January 9th, we will find out who the winner of that game is going to be. Alabama versus Texas in the national championship game. Go ahead and book it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hayden Coker Show brought to you by J&K Tire. You can go down to J&K Tire in Steele, Alabama, and you can get $10 off of any service if you just mention the Hayden Coker Show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, and I will say it once, I've said it once, I'll say it once again. Mention the Hayden Coker Show at J&K Tire in Steele, Alabama. Connor and them, y'all could come down to Alabama if you would like to. And mention the Hayden Coker Show to get $10 off of any parts and service at J&K Tire in Steele, Alabama. And Matthew Cherry replies with horns down. And Matthew Cherry, I know you're happy with my pick. Matthew says, keep up the great work, Hayden. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And if you did not see the legendary the headset pick from James Coker, then you need to rewind this video once it is done. And you need to watch that because that is the greatest headgear pick'em I have ever seen in my entire life. Of the Hayden Coker Show history, the greatest of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hayden Coker Show. Thank you to all my sponsors, J&K Tire, AIM Mobile Detail, Chick-fil-A in Pell City, and Alex Farmer at Alabama Tractor. I highly appreciate you guys. Y'all have a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend of college football. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys back here next week. Happy New Year. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Sayonara.